Hello, I'm MC Toon, the worst rapper in the world. How you doing today? We have a special guest today. Finally, we had some a missed appointment last week, but this week we have JM Truth in the house. How you doing, JM?
I am good. Sorry, I guess I had my YouTube
Yep,
unmuted.
it happens. So,
I'm doing good.
well, good. I'm
It's good to
glad.
see you.
Yeah, I'm glad um, we could make it happen this week. Let's see.
Yeah, I want to apologize to your listeners. I do apologize. Sometimes things come up and family takes priority for me, so I have to gotta do what I gotta
Absolutely,
do. But
yeah.
I always am willing to come back and reschedule. So
Yep, that's good. So, there was just as I was starting, there was a little bit of an issue with the stream. So, if you people in the live stream can say if it's working for you or not. So, and I do. Fantarang is a new Newton member. Thank you, Fantarang. Oh my goodness! And the bandwidth dropped to 0 again. That's not good. Why would that happen? There it popped up again. That is odd.
that's weird.
Yeah. Let me see if the no, that's all good. The bit rate is fine. I'll drop it a little. So, all right. Well, we'll keep going, and hopefully I'll have to watch it kind of closely. Yeah, people are saying it's buffering. So, well, and your audio isn't coming through, and it's dropped again. Oh my! I've had nothing but luck for a
All right,
while.
tell you what,
Oh, you know
MC,
what?
I'm gonna drop out and try to reconnect.
I know what it is. Hold on a second.
Oh, do you?
Uh,
Oh no.
yeah, that was I was working from.
Oh no.
Yeah. No, that's no good. And all right. So, I think it's back. It looks all good. So, I was I was on a VPN, and that affects things, and I cut that out, and then OBS crashed. So, it looks from all indications that it's good again. So, sorry about that. So,
Yeah, we're not
yeah.
even having lag issues. So
Yeah, all right. Well, uh people, if you see anything, if it looks good. So, wow, 0132132. Welcome to Einstein. Thank you very much. I think you need some 80s some rap pants for that. Some hammer pants. So, yeah, Brainy Beaver says to keep your window locked, it'd be a shame if somebody made off with your camera.
yeah, they're making jokes about the video. I guess that who was it? Brainy Beaver made a video about him sneaking into the house and taking the. It was actually very well graphically done, Beaver. It was good.
He's decent with his graphics. So, okay, looking good, I think. So the one question that people really had when you were talking with FTFE and Team Skeptic was your calendar. So
Yeah.
maybe if you could explain that a little bit to people.
Okay.
Hold on. First, before that, I forgot. Congratulations on not winning the award you don't want to win. You know, a lot of people were upset.
I'll bet they were.
But
That's right. There's always next year, right?
so here's
I'll try harder.
here's what I here's here's what you don't actually want that award, right? It is not the Midas touch, it's the fecal touch. So I will campaign as long as you earn it. I'll campaign against you winning that next year.
Oh, okay.
So, but you got to earn it, right?
Right. So before I even talk about the calendar,
yes.
How about if I want to clarify something from a while back? I bought a lab coat. And in fact, it was called a Howie, a James Howie lab coat. They were real cool. I wanted to do something different. Everyone's wearing those stupid lab coats. So I got a closed collar lab coat. And then I had people like Team. Forgive me, Team, but I'm pretty sure you were one of the people that mentioned it. Love you, bud, but got to call you out on this. Anyway, a bunch of people mocked me and was like, that's a chef schmuck, guys. I was a chef for 2 years. Let me just show you all the difference, just to make sure that y'all know that JM Truth does know the difference. This is a chef schmuck. Okay, it's short. It's got my name on it. This is a lab coat. Okay, big long lab coat. I realize they look similar, but they're not. Just had to have some fun with that. Sorry.
Yep.
I took a whole bunch of flack for that.
The style does look a little different than some, I guess. But
yeah. So anyway, all right. So the calendar. First, you'd have to. I want people to understand, this is not a religious thing. This is something that I personally, on my journey with the Creator, went on a journey to find. I was actually looking for the Sabbath days and what was meant scripturally by following the Sabbath. And while I don't think it matters what day particular you worship the Sabbath, I do think that it's all about what's in the heart. That being said, as I've told you before, Toon, I've read scripture from cover to cover about 7 times. I have also read all of the Apocrypha, Jasher, Jubilees, Enoch, and even Judas and a lot of the other ones. And in my search for the days, in Enoch, I came across a counting of days where Enoch, who went out in the earth, and he counted, the days in the year. And the days in the year count out 30, 30, 31. 4 times. So 30, 30, 31, 30, 30, 31, 4 times. That's 364 days. Now, of course, being somebody who believed in 365 days and the real weird math that they have us on right now, which is the Roman calendar, by the way, went out and I spent time praying, and I was like, Father, what is the truth there? Because it says that our seasons are all jacked up. We know that even anybody, a gardener out there, knows that our seasons are all jacked up. Our weather's all jacked up. Why is that? And part of it is because we've allowed Rome to give us this Roman calendar, the Gregorian calendar, and they have leap year and they have other shorter, like February's got 28 days. The reason that they've really, you've got to go and lay out all the days of the month to realize that we are being lied to. When you stand at the equator, and it doesn't even matter where you're at because the sun changes its speed depending on its distance relative to where we're at. But if you stand on the equator and you count 364 days, you will find that the sun is directly overhead where it started on that 364th day. That in Enoch, the way he explains it is every 31st day, the 3rd month of the year, the 3rd month of every season, because those are seasons basically, a 3-month per season. So that 31st day is what we call a changing of the seasons day. That day is basically just a acknowledgement or spiritual acknowledgement of the changing, going from winter to spring, from spring to summer, summer to fall, so on and so forth. But Rome and as Patricia likes to say, the powers that should not be, have really screwed with our days. They really screwed with our months and our calendars.
So the question is, because for quite a few centuries now, we've been using 365 plus every fourth,
With the leap.
right?
Right.
An extra plus every once in a while, little shifts here and there. Do you actually think there's only 364 days, and that somehow?
No, I know for a fact there's only 364 days. I've counted it.
But when everybody else uses 365 and sometimes 366,
right?
How come that works?
Because of leap year, because of February, because of all these other mathematical things they've hidden within the calendar, and the way that this all works.
It's pretty
simple.
simple.
Do the math out.
It's 365, 365, 365, 366, 350, 365, right? There isn't a whole lot of complexity hidden anywhere.
Well, actually, the fact that you're changing the days is complex. Because if we're spinning at a natural rate, I mean, forget flat Earth rounders for a minute. Let's assume the Earth is spinning at 1,100 miles an hour, whatever it is. I'm generalizing.
So, yeah,
the speed.
Once a day.
Okay, it does not change. In order to have 366 days, you'd have to change the speed of the Earth.
Well,
you realize that?
What if it actually takes 365.25 days to go one orbit?
But it doesn't. Again, this is all mathematical magic that they've created.
But I don't see how people could possibly miss that extra day.
Well, sure they can. We miss a lot of things that we're taught. I mean, the fact that February has 28 days violates the Enochian calendar. Again, you can go out and count 30 if you start on the vernal equinox. Okay. I mean, guys, it really is simple when you actually go.
So start on the equinox, count 365 days, and it comes back to where it started.
364 days, and you'll be right back to the vernal equinox.
Okay, and what happens in like 20 years if that number's off? Because you know that when they switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, they had not been doing leap years correctly, and so they missed several weeks.
Do what now? Say it again.
When they switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, there was several days that were missed because they corrected for the
they corrected for them
because now Julian was off and Gregorian was better.
Yeah, have you read Enoch?
I have, yeah, but I don't think you need to read Enoch in order to count the number of days in a year.
What's that?
I don't think you need to read Enoch to count the number of days in a year.
No, you don't have to, but if you don't understand how the seasons and how our days are set up, then it's easy for the Gregorian calendar and the Julian calendar and all these other calendars has been, I believe, set up to offset us from the Creator. It's actually all about getting us out of sync with the Creator. That's what this is all about, actually.
Okay.
Because if, in fact, for example, my Shabbat starts on the vernal equinox. The vernal equinox is actually the third day of creation because he created the sun and moon on the fourth day, correct? Oh, wait. Fourth? Yeah. Sun and moon were created on the fourth day, I think. The third or fourth day. Now I got to go look it up. Anyway.
You read it 7 times.
No, wait, 3 days later. Yeah. So it's created on the third day, fourth day. 3 days later is Shabbat. Is your first Shabbat. Because the sun and moon is when that time clock started. And so 3 days later, what also happened 3 days later? 3 days later, Yeshua rose from the dead. So 3 is a very important start point for also.
There's also that Schoolhouse Rock song. So
which one?
Counting 3.
Oh, okay. So anyway, and then every 7 days you have Shabbat. Now on the Gregorian calendar that changes because the days of the year change. But when you're counting 365 4 days a year, that never changes. My Shabbat's always on the same day.
Okay. Bella Charge says this. There's 29 days in February this year. So.
Yeah, 28, 29. Again, these are subtle things that Rome has done to completely hide the fact.
Yeah, but when it switched from Julian to Gregorian, it wasn't so much Rome.
Yeah, it was. It was absolutely well.
When
Okay, when I say Rome, I believe the Jewish globalists, not all Jews, okay, but the Jewish globalists also were part of Rome. If you look at the history, what they did was they taught a bunch of people, sent them out into religious camps to infiltrate a lot of different religions. And so what they did was they brought them back to the mother whore, if you will, and it's we are actually under a very thick blanket of religious control.
Okay. So 0132 says, if you're right, then 200 calendar years ago, it was summer instead of winter in January of 1820.
No. Because nothing changes actually on 364-day year. You've been taught that you're spinning around a globe. The problem is that we believe we're spinning around a globe. And
well,
so
you did just say Jewish globalists.
No, I don't. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
It's all right. So all right. So then, but we've been using 365 days for more than 200 years. So we must have had January summers.
But see, you're thinking there's 365 days. Again, you're not accounting for the short days in
I was accepting.
February.
I was accepting your because if we.
I'm sorry, did I cut you off? Go ahead and finish what you're saying.
If for 200 years we've been using too many days in the year, right, according to you, then at some point, enough years ago, we would have been shifted by 6 months. Right.
Well, no,
if we're using the wrong calendar.
Their calendar actually compensates for itself. You just don't realize it's compensating. No,
so that's
what
wrong?
28, 29 days in February is and leap year is.
Well, yeah.
It's a compensation.
Exactly.
It's a spin back the clock is what it is. Go count it out on paper.
Yeah, we know it works. All right, that's fine. It's clear as mud. Thank you for that. It's from Enoch, people, if you want. So anybody that's a Tolkien fan, Enoch is pretty good. It's like the Silmarillion. If you've read that, it's kind of like that, I think. So, have you read the Silmarillion?
Have I what?
Have you read the Silmarillion?
No.
No. Okay. It's the Tolkien's kind of foundational stuff to the Lord of the Rings.
I think okay, yeah. I've read little snippets of it. I haven't read the whole thing.
It's not as much of a story as it is kind of history. So, So Punchy is asking for 5 Monopoly dollars. JM, what is the difference between a solar and a sidereal day?
A solar and a sidereal day?
Yeah.
I'd have to go look it up.
Okay. I can get this out here. So
okay.
The Earth orbits the sun, right? Once a year. And from midday to midday, the Earth rotates. But because it moves a tiny bit of the orbit, 1/365.25 of the orbit, from midday to midday, it's slightly shifted. So we see midday to midday as 24 hours, but the Earth actually rotates once every sidereal day, which is slightly less by about 4 minutes. That's so that it's a compensation thing, right? It's just how to count for it. So look that up. It exists, and even flat Earth calendars, flat earthers like Flat Earth Aussie Jesus talks about it.
Okay, but the problem is you have flat earthers that are still going on a 306. The calendar works on both a flat Earth and a globe.
I don't think the calendar makes a difference.
No, actually, it does make a difference because that's what's laying out your time scale. That is your time. That's literally your time scale. So if you don't understand how that works, then you don't understand. You're off.
Okay. Punchy's insisting that Canadian money is not monopoly money. It's legal tender.
I don't believe it. I can't believe it unless I see it for myself, Punchy. Sorry.
So we have this is we put money in our coins in here and we save it up for vacation. And this week we had my son was here and we're looking at. He's like, I went to the bank and got like $100 of coins and sorted out all the valuable coins. And so we did that without it, and then brings it back, right? And like so, like silver nickels and silver dimes and special double dyed Denver pennies from UHF. If you watch that, we did that and we pulled out a couple Canadian coins. So I was going to send a picture to Punchy, but of these Canadian nickels. So, NANA for $6.66 says Santa enjoys JMBS. So,
hey guys, just so you know, I didn't fall off the turnip truck. I wasn't born yesterday. I've spent years researching this stuff, and I can actually go through. It would take me a while to actually lay out the argument. So you asked me to just explain it. I'm just explaining it. Anyway.
So, yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. You have said that you are a research scientist.
Correct.
So a couple things then to clarify science. So the way to do science, and correct me if I might get this wrong. Little hint there. So what you do when you're doing science is you pick a conclusion, and then you search out things that support it and ignore everything that doesn't. Is that right?
No.
What's right?
Absolutely not. You make an observation first, then you make a hypothesis, and then you, through the scientific method, try to explain and how that whatever it is that your observation is, how that it works. But you have to have a control vector, and be able to try to the way I approach science is I try to disprove something, and if I can't disprove it, then I've proven it by proxy. So I wouldn't
quite go that far, but I think that's in the right direction. All right, so then how about when doing an experiment, you include the things that support the hypothesis and ignore things that contradict it?
No.
Can you expand on that then?
Well, it's through the scientific method.
I'm giving you some softballs here.
I know. Like, come on here. How do you? Anything that contradicts your hypothesis, if it is positive, meaning that if I say mixing A and B will get you C, and I mix A and B and I don't get C, I can't ignore that. I have to though also explain why I didn't get C. Well, it's because my hypothesis was wrong. So if you do not get the outcome, then you go back and you reformat your hypothesis according to what you may adjust in your belief is going on. Hopefully that's a better way of explaining it.
Okay. And then one more here. In an experiment, if there are things affecting the observation outside of the independent variable and the dependent variable, things that are changing outside of them,
all right,
if they support the hypothesis, just ignore them. Otherwise, throw out the experiment.
You're joking, right? Like these are junior high questions.
Of course, I'm joking. Yes. But I've seen people do experiments like that, so that.
But see, okay, that's my issue though with most of this whole argument between flat Earth, round Earth. Most people don't understand what they're talking about half the time, and they'll use big words to try to make themselves sound smarter, and insult the opposition, which actually goes against the whole idea of trying to come together to find a conclusion. The problem is most of us were taught science in junior high, and that was the last time you touched science.
Yeah.
You read textbooks. The textbook said XYZ, and you just believed that some scientist off somewhere did experiments because you were told they did. Go and do the freaking experiments. Go do them for yourself. Now, ultimately, that's why I did my observations. Why I went out and did my own observations.
Yeah. All right. So we kind of have a good. I think I was, of course, joking and all of those things there.
Yeah. It was cute, by the way.
Kind of saying the opposite. Punchy is asking how many feet in a mile.
5,000 something, I think.
Ooh, I think it's 5,200.
5,200.
Is that?
I think so.
Alexa, how many feet in a mile?
I know it's over 5,000.
5,280.
Yeah, that's right.
I have two Alexas in here now. Oops, I said the name. I have two of them for stereo.
Oh wow, that's gonna drive me
for
nuts.
Stereo. They were on sale. 5,280 feet to the mile, Punchy. There you go. We were talking on my Discord server. We were talking units today, and you know the Scottish units are all based on sheep, right? Like the a sheep length is how long a sheep is, and
Okay.
their unit of volume is how big a sheep's bladder is, and this is common knowledge, right? Everybody knows that about Scottish
But English
units,
is
right?
stones. Yeah, I get it.
I'm kidding. That's not real.
Oh, I don't know.
All right.
I was like, holy crap, I've never heard this before.
I just made it
wow,
up.
that's gonna be. I gotta look this up. What?
But I do want to. I need to put up a whole bunch of units on my website for it. So, all right. Graham Price. Wow, 2 Alexas. That's almost as decadent as Nathan's 8 shower heads. Thank you.
Nathan Thompson's 8 shower head?
Yes, he has 8 shower heads apparently. Wow. So, and I think it was in a video of his or something. So, all right.
Oh, okay.
So, you have some observations, some long distance observations.
Yeah.
And so, what do you? Can you show them, or at least talk about them, or we can put some?
I can.
Numbers up?
Give me a second to pull them up, and I'll pull them up here. Which, by the way, I got back. YouTube. Shelly tried to claim them as hers, and YouTube's like, nope, JM2 Productions owns those. Just a tag out for JM2 Productions. Sorry, I had to rub that in her face.
Unexpected Caveman says MC Toon could have one Alexa battle the other. I could.
That would be awesome.
I don't know how to do that. That sounds great. I saw somebody set up an Echo and a Google Home next to each other, and they were talking back and forth, but it was just basically asking the same question on loop back and forth.
Right. So is there a way for me to share my screen here?
Yeah. On the bottom right, there's 3 dots. Or no, it says present now.
Oh, present now? Okay. So let me bring this. Oh, I gotta present now first, I guess. Your entire screen.
Yeah, you don't want that probably.
Nope. There you go.
And I will. I'll prep this so that. So you can have a full screen.
Okay. Let me know when you're all set.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing, obviously. And I know y'all, so I get mocked for this, but my buddy Danny made this. He's actually a 3D graphics artist. He's awesome. Thanks, Danny. He's not in fact, my buddy Danny's not a flat earther. So.
And he still supports you?
Yep. He was, I had my first film production company was Area 51 Productions. And he was my 3D artist, my 3D graphics guy, and special effects artist. And we've been friends for well over 12 years now. So he still does graphic work for me. So okay, so
we're not seeing anything yet.
What?
We're not seeing anything yet.
Oh, okay. Why is that, I wonder? Oh, because I got to click share. Okay. Can you see now?
Yeah, if you go theater mode, it'll be bigger.
Is that bigger now?
There you go. Yep.
And yes, I know the sun and moon are not in to scale. All right. So I'm not gonna play the whole thing. I just like the intro. So what I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna scale through this, and Shelley Lewis, Wendell Walton, and David Hunt were all with us. We were all doing this observation. The LED lights 14 miles away. Wait, is this this is the 35-mile one. Hold on. Let me go back. I wanted to start with the 10-mile observation. Sorry, guys. All right. Actually, it's 11.5 miles. Okay. So, all right. And you can still see it?
Yeah, 11.5 miles.
11.5 miles.
Okay.
And I was using a LED light. In fact, I'll show you what I was using here real quick. Well, I'll show you after this. So this was a Grunt 3. That's Wendell's infrared camera. Was picking this up. It changes from his camera failed at one point, and we went to my GH4. And yes, it's my GH4. Sorry, I'm doing this on purpose. And has nothing to do with the globe guys. Okay, so where are we here? Okay. GH4 had a 200 millimeter zoom. I just figured out that I did not have the, I lost after like 10 miles or so. I lost the light for a minute, and or it went. I didn't adjust my ISO, and I was dealing with David's infrared camera, or the other infrared camera, and other stuff, and I wasn't thinking. And I'm openly admitting I made the mistake. I just didn't adjust the ISO, so I lost the light at the end. But I will be probably going back and redoing this observation, just so that I can remove the other three goofballs from being part of this. So
okay.
So anyway, so we are at, where are we at now? So 8 miles. 8 miles. There's the light that we're looking at, and this is 4 feet above what would essentially be sea level. It is, in fact, actually 3,000 feet above sea level. But as most people don't realize, if it's a straight line, okay, and I'm not looking down on the object, there is no height variance. So when you go onto the Google with the flat Earth map calculator or the globe Earth calculator, and you type in the eye level or the sight level, it's not compensating for the object. So it's assuming that you're at, say, 10 feet above sea level and the object is at sea level. It doesn't compensate for, what if I'm at the same level as the object? You see what I'm saying? So if I'm at the same, even if I'm at 4,000 feet and the object is at 4,000 feet, there still should be an equivalent curve or hump between object A and object B.
There would be a slight difference because of the elevation difference, but it's not a huge amount.
Right.
So, so this is, am I right that this is at a salt flats?
Yeah, it's at the Utah Salt Flats.
Okay, so,
and it's really shit cold. Sorry, excuse my language.
It's very cold.
Really, really, really cold. Yeah.
Yes,
we're almost at 32 degrees. We're, I think, at 40 something degrees. So, if you know anything about temperature, you know that you can see further when it's colder.
I do know that.
And so I purposely went out with the intention of doing it on a cold day, because the Salt Flats, as you know, gets really, really hot in
Yep.
the summer, and you have a huge issue with vision and mirages and all kind of stuff during the summertime. So we went out at the end of what was it, fallish? But it was within the winter. I can't remember the month. Oh, it was November. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
so 11 and a half miles, or what was this one that you're looking at? 8 miles?
that one was 9.5.
9.5
Right.
miles. Okay. So,
5.
so I'm going to try to calculate, predict what should be hidden, right? So
So I'm gonna freeze it.
the problem is that we don't have a clear observer height and target height, and that makes a big difference,
No, yeah, we do. It's 4 feet above sea level.
which is,
Both. The camera was set about 4 feet above sea level, and the lights are on the truck about 4 feet above sea level.
so the top of the lights are 4 feet up?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we measured it. I made sure. They wouldn't have if we had done it, but I made sure I measured it. Yeah.
So, um, but you're not above sea level, right?
No,
Now,
it's sea level.
when you talked with FTFE and Team Skeptic, you were talking about a 20-foot rise somewhere.
That was on the other. That was on the other.
It was on the other one.
On the other one, yeah. So 10 miles is 66 feet, supposedly below the curve. That's what it should be. And on a cold day, I can't imagine refraction actually bending that high. But that's
So
my
have you-
biggest issue.
All right. So, as a research scientist, have you looked into the state of the art, or not state of the art, like the background information and history on what has already been done for
No.
refraction? No. Okay. So I would say
I mean,
that'd be a pretty
yeah.
early thing to be doing to make sure that you understand what's going to be happening due to refraction, because you said that you didn't expect there to be refraction much when it's cold, but in fact, the experimentation is quite a bit the opposite.
Okay, when I said okay, when I said I didn't, I mean I've looked into refraction. Refraction, in my opinion, does not account for this, and
All
it
right. So
definitely doesn't account for 35.5 miles.
so now hold on. Earlier we said. I said if an experiment, there's things that affect the observation outside of the independent variable and dependent variable. If they support the hypothesis, ignore them otherwise throughout the experiment. And you said, no, that's not right. Okay.
Right?
So
No, yeah.
the refraction, you did not quantify the refraction. And you probably don't even know what lapse rate is I'm guessing.
Not off the top of my
Okay.
head.
So lapse rate is what you use to calculate the expected refraction over a distance. And the lapse rate is pretty simple. It's just the change in temperature over height, right?
Okay, so I'll tell you what. Let's do this right now. Do it for this experiment. It was 42 degrees, and it was 4 feet above sea level.
But you need the temperature at the ground and the temperature at the observation.
It was the same.
At
We measured it. They measured it. It was the same.
at the ground and at 4 feet high.
Yeah.
That's pretty unusual.
The temperature? No.
To have
At
to
4
have
feet?
to have it, especially when it's cold. Typically, when it's cold, the difference from ground level to 4 feet high is quite a bit different, because the ground changes.
Okay. Are you talking like fractions of fractions of fractions? Like it was 42 degrees at 4 feet. It was 42 degrees on the ground, according to the cell phone thermometer.
The cell phone thermometer.
Yeah, my phone will calculate temperature.
Calculate or measure?
Measure. Or calculate and measure the same thing.
Some people might disagree with calculate and measure the same thing, but what's the margin of error on that cell phone thermometer?
Well, okay, it technically was a GPS system, so it was reading real-time temperature levels at both of those heights.
Wait,
based on the GPS was giving me. I have a barometer on my cell phone. It gives me temperature, air pressure, all of that stuff.
I don't know of phones that have temperature.
It's got. Hold on.
I've not seen a cell phone that measures temperature. What cell phone are you using?
I'm using an Apple. In fact, it's an Apple 7, Apple 6, Apple 6, Apple 6s.
iPhone 6s.
Yeah.
Thermometer.
Wait, are you looking for a thermometer on the phone?
Yeah, that's what you said you were using.
No, I said I was using an app.
An app.
It's an app.
Okay.
So I don't know how it works and how it calculates it, but
okay,
we were able to measure the temperature.
So is that the weather app? So it's
the weather app is one app. I have a barometer app too.
So the weather app gets data from the weather stations.
Okay.
It's not reading using a thermometer telling you what it is. It's saying what the weather station that's the nearest one reported.
Yeah, but my temperature changes if I change location. Like if I go, if the temperature varies from say 100 feet, it'll show that temperature variance. So
yeah. So here's a Apple developer forum. Just a second. An Apple developer forums. Does iPhone have built-in temperature sensor that can be used for measuring room temperature? Answer. None of Apple's mobile devices have that ability. Your app would need to talk to a HomeKit-enabled device in the room instead.
Okay.
So you didn't actually measure the temperature. So all right. So if we don't have that, then there's other things we can do. But give me just a second here.
Okay.
Bella Charge is asking, do you have proof of distance? How about location or anything else you need to verify this? And explain why that would work that way. So yeah, do you have you said you have a GPS, the coordinates would be nice. And then John Rapp says, for a clear, sharp picture of an object past the horizon, why is the bottom cut off? Perspective has to work top, bottom, sides, and all angles in between. So that's a separate issue, right? That because your observations are it's just basically a pin of light, right? So
well, it's a pin of light with it's the light is secured to the back of the vehicle.
Yeah, I'm just saying it gets small to where it. I don't know how much you can zoom in, or if it just looks like a pin of light, right? Carl Christofferson. So okay, we're good to use GPS data, right? And then Bella Charge says, I call BS on what app you're using. So yeah, we don't have the temperature, right?
Well, no, you can't say that. I do have the temperature. I'll concede I don't have the temperature for 4 feet to the ground level. I'll give you that.
Okay. So we don't know.
It does calculate the temperature through the app, or it gives you the temperature through the app based on GPS coordinates. Now, I don't know if it's that. I mean, I'm not a software engineer. I can't say, but I've watched it change temperatures as I've walked from point A to point B. So obviously, satellites, whatever you think they are, is getting some kind of data somewhere to give you the numbers. Now, whether the numbers are accurate, I can't argue that.
Yeah.
But
all right.
I can say that at the time, I should have had I should have had a manual thermometer. I
Yeah,
didn't.
get a to do it again. Get a thermometer that has a barometer in it, not just your phone, because you get these combo units that have both barometer and a thermometer in
Actually,
it.
how about this? It's a laser thermometer.
That's not a
It will
laser.
count.
That's infrared. That only measures the temperature of objects. It doesn't. It actually measures the infrared coming off of an object. It doesn't measure the air temperature. So if you want to know air temperature, you need to
Okay.
use.
All right. Okay.
All right. So if you don't know that, then we can use some of the information that people have done in the past. So there's a study called, and this got a nice long name to it, but it's a fantastic.
Here's the point: is why does it matter what temperature the ground is? I didn't take it from the ground. I took it from 4 feet. So
Because it tells us the lapse rate. So just a second.
Okay.
But because you don't know that the lapse, you don't know the temperature, we don't know the lapse rate, so we can't use that. So this study called monitoring of the refraction coefficient in lower atmosphere using a controlled setup of simultaneous reciprocal vertical angle measurements. And I'll give the link to that study.
Okay, but hold on. You're cutting this before. I mean, we have a number. I gave you 42 degrees.
Yes.
We could do it based on that and see what we come up with. Now, it's not. It wouldn't be considered accurate. I get it. But
Because
at 42 degrees, you could still measure that.
but the lapse rate is because of the change in temperature from ground level to 4 feet above to 10 feet above or whatever. So if you're saying it's one temperature, that doesn't tell us anything. That doesn't tell us the change in temperature. That's claiming that it's the same, which we can be quite certain it's not. Right. So I put in the link to this publication, and what it starts out with doing what's a good idea when you're going to do a study. You review what's already been done on that topic, and so it goes over several different measurements that previous studies have done to find out kind of regular things. Regular like in different conditions. So like what is the coefficient of refraction at different times of day, different weather conditions, over grass, over asphalt, over high altitude, not high, but high enough altitude that you're not near the ground, over ice. So it talks about stuff like done in Greenland over ice sheets, talks about stuff done over water, about experiments done over ground. And so yours was over ground. And the thing is that it
Sorry.
did you double join the
I did. I clicked the wrong link.
So all right, let me I want to edit this here because that image is not working. So anyway,
So what I'm saying is you're not willing to accept these observations, is what I'm hearing you say.
what I'm saying is you did not control for conflating variables, and we went over that earlier. That if you don't control for conflating variables, it puts everything into question.
Technically, yeah, I can't argue that. But again, my point is, at 35.67 miles, whatever it was, go with the temperature I gave you.
But that's only one temperature. We need two. We need ground level and at observation level to get the lapse rate. So since we don't have that, like I'm saying, that's fine. If we don't have the lapse rate and we can't get accurate, then that gives us, what it's going to do is it's going to increase the margin of error. It's going to give us a wider margin.
Right. Yeah, obviously.
Right. So hold on. Green Bullion is I don't know if you know him, but he's always in the chat, and people need to take turns timing him out, and they do a good job of that. Surf is asking for the name of the app that gave you the temperature. So all right, I will.
One of the apps was the Weather Channel. We took it from.
Okay, so yeah, that is just using weather station data.
Yeah.
So here's a 5 meters above water, and here is one. Yeah.
The barometer app is AWS.
All right, so this graph here shows on the left, the bottom is 0, and 0 is no refraction. Light passes straight without refracting up or down. Any positive number is causing light to go down, which causes distant things to appear higher.
Hold on. Where did you post that link?
It is. Well, I'll put it in. I put it in the live chat, and yeah. And I'm not sharing my screen to you, but I will. Here, hold on.
You know, for me, you could also put it in our chat, our private chat.
Yep. I'll let's see.
Oh, you got split screen going on.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The OBS.
All right.
That's it.
So on the left is that curve that goes way up like this. That's different times of day. So they had these theodolites opposite each other, doing reciprocal zenith angles, right? So when it was measuring the up and down on both sides at the same time to see what it was doing, and they were not moving, but what was happening is the appearance of the distant theodolite was moving up and down, and so they're measuring this, right? And so the higher the number, the more the refraction is. It's the coefficient of refraction. And you can see here at the bottom there, it's from 0 to 2. It's kind of that flat part on the left, and then it starts to shoot up. And that happens about 7 p.m. at night. So this is close to sunset. And you can see there at about 1 to 2 a.m., the number was spiking way at the top. So this is short. This is basically after sunset. What happens is the index of refraction, the coefficient of refraction, slightly different thing, goes way, way up, and you can see significantly farther than you can during the day. And this happens more pronounced on sunny days, followed by a clear night, right? So no clouds. Right. You get these drastic changes where you have this one here. This whole one is a day that's cloudy, and so it spikes up at 8 instead of 20 for the coefficient of refraction. So the higher that coefficient, the bigger the effective radius of the Earth, the more things get elevated in distant observations. So what that does is that tells us that we could use. Now, was the day sunny or
it was clear.
It was clear. Okay, so this would be on the left would be the graph that we'd use, and it gives us our error bars, right? So we can say, well, it was after sunset, right?
Right.
So we could say the coefficient of refraction was between 4 and 16, maybe. The problem is that's huge. That's really huge.
Right.
It's almost so much that it's the same. You're gonna have atmospheric occlusion before you're gonna have anything blocked. Right, occlusion being that just the dust particles and the stuff in the air is going to block it. Right. So this is, I sent the link in the chat, and I'll send it in our side chat here too.
So really, what I would need to do to offset this would be to do a daytime observation and a nighttime observation.
That would be great. And measuring the temperature. Let's see. Measuring the temperature. Both at both sides, at ground level and at some height above the ground, helps you to get the lapse rate. And there is, and I'll give you this. There's a guy at the University of SDSU by the name of Andrew Young, and he does a lot on this. This is his expertise. And he actually has a nice calculator. Let's see. Is this the one? No, it's not. Where you put in the temperatures, and it'll give you the lapse rate and estimates the distance to things. Or when you put in the distance, it estimates the elevation that you should see above the horizon. So neither of those are it. There it is. Here, I found it. This is the calculator. So you put in, and so you need two temperatures. You need this one uses the temperature and the elevation of the observer and the temperature and elevation of the target. And then that gives you the lapse rate. So if you're saying, the height is 4 feet and the temperature at both of them was 44 degrees, what were you saying? 42. Right. It can't compute it because you didn't actually have a difference. So, so when FE Core did their measurement, I took their numbers because they did do they recorded at the water level and at whatever the level of their laser was. And the lapse rate shows that it should bend a lot. So the FE Core laser actually over Lake Balaton actually confirmed that the Earth is not flat because it curved enough that it would have hit the ground before it got to the other side if it was flat.
Okay. I don't agree with, but
so
okay.
Now we went over already.
Here you have the observer height and the target height. If the target height is 5.5 and is that 5.55 Celsius?
Yeah, that's the temperature. Yeah.
1.21 meters, 4 feet. Okay, got it. It can't calculate it. So what you're surmising is that the temperature of the target would have to be different than the temperature of the observer.
Yeah. For this one, you can do it manually just by getting the problem is, of course, it's to do it really well, you need lots of measurements all the way along, and you can't do that. So if you can get the temperature at the observer and the temperature at the target, both at the ground and up high, you can calculate the lapse rate. The lapse rate is just the formula is on here, but it's just change in temperature over distance, elevation. So a lapse rate of 0.11 centimeters per meter is matches the curve of the Earth, actually, which is a lot. That's a big difference in temperature if it goes from that. But that happens especially on cold days. So like that, if you saw that one of the earlier
cold day, it would be more. It would flatten the curve, so to speak, up to the observer.
Yeah.
On a hot day.
Yep.
And yet the news explains just the opposite of that.
Well, he's not a scientist. So here
but
is
when you're looking across the lake at Chicago, and it's a hot day, and he's like, "Oh, it's a mirage," dude.
I disagree with that word. I think mirage typically is when there is a mirroring effect, and we didn't see that
correct
mirroring effect because it wasn't upside down. You can have a mirage where there's two reflections,
right.
but that's even more obvious because you get a lot of different distortions. So this shows that this is a real nice diagram here, showing how and if you're zoomed in a little more, it's kind of maybe hard to see. I'll see if I can.
Oh no, I'm good.
You can see you can see how it shows, and this is based on his simulation. This is again the SDSU professor Andrew Young.
Uh-huh.
So this is his software that I think he wrote that shows what you see. And how the light bends, and you can see this line that says 0 and how it curved around, and it's below where at least the tangent line is, right? And so this is just based on these temperature. Right here. If you'll see about temperature version in about 0.11 degrees per meter will make the ray curve match that of the Earth. So in this diagram, he chose 0.05 degrees per meter. Right, so which is 5 degrees in 100 meters. So that's what he's using there, and it shows things appear higher.
Except this is all, there's no observation here. This is all computer animation.
It's not animation, it's simulation. Yeah, and so then you go to, if you want to have straight observation, that's where we go to this paper written monitoring of the refraction coefficient in the lower atmosphere using a controlled setup of simultaneous reciprocal vertical angle measurements. It's a pithy name. And that cites a whole bunch of different studies at the beginning, and then has its own study in it to show the measured refraction effects. Right? So you can look at the different things, and you can find, based on your particular measurement, where there is some matching, right? So if you're not over water, you wouldn't use the over water one. If you're not over ice, you wouldn't use it. You'd look at the studies that measured over your particular material, which is a salt flat, when maybe there isn't one. So then it's harder. It increases your error bars because you don't know what the previously measured refraction effects are over that type of material. But we know basically it's always higher. It always extends our view.
Well, yeah, and your explanation is that that's on a curved surface. My explanation is it's on a flat surface. But the issue here, as I see it, is, again, showing me more math does not explain 35.6 mile observation.
But this isn't math. This is measurement.
Still math.
How is a measurement math?
Huh?
How is a measurement math? Right? They measured that things appear, you can see farther over distance. They measured that by setting up things and measuring the reciprocal angles.
Where's the measurement? Where's the observation?
In the paper.
Okay, that's not an observation. That's not even an experiment. That's an explanation on paper of a supposed observation.
So
I'm saying is,
how do scientists publish their work? On YouTube? They don't. Okay, scientists don't publish on YouTube.
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm arguing. That's not true. Some scientists do publish.
Some do,
on
but
YouTube.
they publish in journals.
Right,
and they may have YouTube publications in addition, but they do it in journals.
But if you're going to go do a measurement, one of the great things I love about YouTube is it's on video.
Yep.
Picture's worth 1,000 words. I can write anything I want in a dissertation. I've written novels and books myself. Doesn't make my point is, just because I'm reading this doesn't make this dissertation. Have you never read a dissertation that's actually wrong? That's full of all kinds of errors and mistakes?
Yeah,
I have a problem ending all dissertations without being able to visually check that work. That's the problem I have.
All right, so you basically don't trust any science.
No, I don't trust anything. I test everything for myself.
So then you absolutely must, if that's the case, you must test these. You must get a baseline yourself for what the refraction is doing. And you did nothing in these so far.
I did. Okay. You're right. I didn't. No, I didn't. Because because I have now someone like you who's going, okay, 35 miles and we can't figure out what the curve is. Are you freaking kidding me? Like at 35.6 miles, do the calculation. Nathan asked team, if 8 inches times mile squared is not the calculation, what's the calculation? He couldn't come up with an answer. The point is
hold on. I have that.
1,000 miles.
I have that. Hold on. I have that calculation. Right. I put it in the chat there. There's the calculation to predict what should be seen. The geometric prediction that's outside and hasn't yet been including the effect of refraction.
It would have to match 8.8 inches times mile squared.
No, because that doesn't include the observer height.
The observer height technically wouldn't. It doesn't matter if you're up at sea level. If I'm at 4 feet and the thing I'm observing is at 4 feet, it's still 8 inches times mile squared.
Can you present your mathematical proof of that? Because that's wrong according to the math that I understand. It would be the same
as if my eyes were at sea level.
Yeah, but the camera's not half submerged in water.
Doesn't have. That is the most ridiculous.
That is the only time that 8 inches per mile squared works is if the observer's eye or camera is half covered in water. So since it's not, you need to include the observer height, and the observer height greatly affects how much is visible or not. It's not just I'm going to subtract the number afterwards. It doesn't work that way. So if you're going to claim it does, then I'm going to ask for your mathematical proof, because I can provide the mathematical proof for this formula.
Okay. Well, hold on. Will you concede that a parabola is accurate up to 1,000 feet?
I will concede that formula does not include the observer height, therefore it's useless.
Hold on. That's not what I asked.
I will not be strawmanned on this. That is the wrong formula for predicting what we should see.
That's okay.
Okay.
Can we agree? Sea level. Come on. I'll go to sea level. Let's go sea level. Will you agree that 8 inches times mile squared is what we should observe up to 1,000 miles at sea level?
Not at all.
Now it's not at all.
Well, if the camera is half submerged in water.
So you're saying all of the geologists and all of the scientists that came up with that formula.
And who are these people?
That was actually originally.
Who are these people, and where did they state that it was good for observations? Because I know where that came from. I read the book that it came from. And I read the book that Robotham wrote where he pulled it.
Okay.
And none of it talks about observations. It's a useless formula for observations. It's not the problem isn't that it's a parabola. The problem is that it does not include the observer height. And the observer height makes a big difference on what you can see. It's not just the observer height was 4 feet, therefore we're just going to subtract 4 feet from the other side of it. It doesn't work like that.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm going to share my screen here for a minute. What do you see? Do you see this?
Your screen isn't going yet. Hold on. I'll see if.
What the hell?
Yeah, you're not presenting yet.
Why are you not presenting? Present now. Sure. Okay. All right. Got it. Do you see this?
Hold on. Yes, there you go.
Okay. Can you tell me what's wrong with this calculator?
With that calculator?
Yep.
Well, it doesn't, of course, include any refraction options.
Oh, no, there's a glaring issue with this calculator.
I don't know. What is it?
Eye height of the observer, right? Doesn't say the height of the observation or the object being observed.
And I don't prefer that calculator.
No, but I want to make the point. It assumes that the observation is being done at sea level, or the object being observed is at sea level, and the height of the observer. The problem is, like I've tried to explain to others, is in order for this to be accurate, you'd have to also calculate the height of the object being observed, because this only gives one side of it.
Well, is that not going to give you the what is obstructed? Isn't that what that is going to tell you? Is how much should be obstructed?
Correct.
Okay, so there's no problem with that then.
No, there is a problem with that, because here, I'll give you the example. When I first made my observations present, I had a bunch of people go, well, what was your height? What was the height of the observer? Well, I said the height was 4,000 feet. They're like, well, oh my God, you could see, halfway across the U.S. from that. Well, no, but the object was also 4,000 feet.
Yes.
So if they don't understand, that zeroes out the height of the observer, or within a few feet, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So if I'm at 4 feet and the object is at 5 feet or at 3 feet, then you go back to the calculator, but you have to calculate what the object's being observed, what the height of that is. This whole calculator is inaccurate.
Yeah, well then use a better one.
You're missing my point. You can calculate it, but I'm saying you have to take into both accounts. That's my point.
So there's a calculator that I like that includes both the target and the
Somebody actually made one? Excellent.
Yeah. This uses the correct formula, the one that I pasted earlier. And here, I'll bring it up on the screen here. So it includes I like it because it has a nice visual there. Right?
Physics stuff what? What's the
physicsstuff.000.webhostapp.com. It's a weird one, and it defaults to Russian, so you got to click on English. But this is the best I've seen.
Stuff.000. Sounds like a Star Trek destruction sequence.
So are you into Star Trek or Star Wars?
Both. Oh, I mean, it used to be.
So, all right, let's see. Oh, Punchy is asking if you've done the Cavendish experiment. And
Cavendish is not an experiment.
And then let's see. And Aaron Armstrong is wondering what you're doing right now for work.
Oh, well, I am a fully disabled military veteran, so I don't work. I'm putting together a film studio.
All right. So, that wasn't an answer, says Punchy. So, all right. So this is a very nice one.
What answer does he want? I mean,
no, I'm
a filmmaker, is what I do. What do you want from me?
Kevin, he was because you didn't answer yes or no to whether or not you did the Cavendish experiment. So.
No, I've never done the Cavendish
experiment.
I've watched it many times, and it's not an experiment.
So here is so the nice thing about this is it does show the error in using 8 inches per mile squared, because if you look at this on here, the line C to N, so C is tangent to the surface, C to N, and then N to Z. N to Z is what is calculated when you do 8 inches per mile squared. And you can see in this exaggerated diagram, that's a very tall difference.
Right.
But when you put in the observer height and you use that correctly, then the hidden height is a WZ, which is, in this particular one, is significantly smaller than NZ.
Hold on, I'm going to stop you for. I'm trying to get this website to come up. physicsstuff.000 webhostapp.com.
So I put in the link. Oh, people.
Oh, did you? Okay, where is it?
It's in the chat.
Oh, okay, cool. Nope, got it. All right, cool. Thank you. Excellent. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
So if you look at the line NZ or NZ, if you're in across the pond, that's the line tangent, and that's what 8 inches per mile squared is calculating. And then, but if you include the observer height, then the line WZ is what is actually the amount that's hidden, and that's the correct way to do the math. So, are you still there? It looks like you might have.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I actually I'll turn my camera off for a second.
Okay. So, and then the nice thing about this is that it includes the refractive index there, standard 7.6, which is not actually typically standard. The U.S. Geological Society uses 4/3, which is 1.33. That's what they use as their baseline for all of their coefficient of refraction.
Okay.
So when anybody uses, if they're not quantifying it some other way, they have to use 1.33 for their standard baseline coefficient of refraction. So when done right, I've not actually seen any C2 far measurements that weren't predicted by correct math.
Okay.
So,
you're a photographer, right?
I am, yes.
Right. All right.
I am also studied physics a lot. So, mctune.net/refraction has several of these published studies. But,
It's funny. You could say you've studied physics and nobody makes fun of you. I say I've studied physics for years and people mock me.
Well, sorry.
That's just I was just pointing out a difference between the globe, Earth, and flat Earth group.
Yeah, well, I think maybe it's because I'm not starting with the conclusion and then rejecting things that don't match.
You're assuming that I'm doing that. I've never done that, actually. I've never once ever done that.
Okay.
I've always gone out to try to prove things are not as they are, because that's the best way to go about it. Yeah. I've never started with a conclusion. I was a globe earther like you were for many years.
Yep.
I wanted to be an astronaut.
Well, yeah, we've all heard the same story.
I mean, I get it, but I also almost became a pilot and decided, no, I'm going to be a combat medic. Didn't want to be an officer. I was trying to be humble in the Christian. I was in a Assembly of God church, and I was trying to do what I thought was the more humble of the two things, and the more less evasive, aggressive, and murderous of the two things. Yeah. So, anyway,
BM Furball. Do you know BM Furball?
Hey, BM, what's up, man?
He is. He's back.
Is he in?
He moved to. Did you move to DC? Right? He says he's going to bed. Maybe he's already gone, but he had been offline for a while. So.
Yeah, I like BM. Oh, there he is. He just commented.
So
So I'm going to go back then, and I knew I was going to probably run into some issues with my observations. I still have not heard any globe earther explain 35.6 miles, except to say, well, you didn't do this, this, and this. Okay, well, you explain it. I mean, well, not you, but I mean,
with refraction, especially with the conditions that you were in, it sounds like that we should see very, very far over the curve of the Earth because of refraction. But because you don't have enough information, we can't draw a conclusion. What's that?
Prove it through the calculation. I mean, saying that and being able to prove that, again, I would rather that's I guess where I will give a little more leniency is to say, okay, look, I gave you what the temperature is, and you're telling me because of fractions of degrees, you can't give me an answer. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, Tim.
Well, the thing is, you did not control the conflating variables, and since we don't know them, the observation is very difficult to use.
See, in my explanation, or for my understanding, what the calculation of refraction that they're doing only is to neutralize the observation, to try to force field back to a curved Earth. Because at 35 point,
That
Do you
sounds
even know
like
what the
that sounds like you're just asserting your conclusion.
Well, no. Hold on. What was that anyway? Hold on.
So I don't know what you're looking for, but while you're looking, I can solve this here for a little entertainment. Kind of a trained circus monkey sometimes, I think.
Aren't we all?
All right, let's see. Got the plus. Let's see there. There you go. Got the top and the sides. There you go. Are you looking for something?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. I'm just filling some space then.
Sorry.
With my yes. Oh.
Okay.
Mistake.
At 35.6 miles, the Earth should curve 844 feet. So my question is, I'm willing to go back to the globe if you can do the calculations and show that should come up with a refraction.
All right. What was the distance?
35.6 miles.
And the observer height?
4 feet, and the object height 4 feet. The object was a laser.
That was the laser.
Yep.
Okay. And you don't know any of the atmospheric conditions. That's the problem.
It was 42 degrees.
It doesn't tell the lapse height, the lapse rate. Right?
So you're saying that between 4 feet and 0, the lapse rate would be to be able to curve 844 feet. Is that what you're saying?
So you need, in order to have the curve of the light match the curve of the Earth, you need a lapse rate of 0.11 degrees Celsius per meter. So at 4 feet, you're just over a meter high. So if you have
okay, other than math, how do you prove that?
Through observation.
Well, okay, but how do you measure that curve?
Reciprocal zenith angles.
Again, that's math.
No, that's measurements. You have a theodolite on both sides, and you point them at each
Call it
other.
measurement, whatever. My point is, it's still not an observation.
I don't know what what hairs you're splitting for what is an observation.
No, again, a lot of globe earthers call Cavendish an experiment. Cavendish is not an experiment.
And a lot of people will say it is.
A lot of people will say it is, that believe in globe, but an experiment is what? An observation you make in nature.
Oh, so if you have clothes on, then it's violating it. What part of a nature is a laser? You can't use a laser then. You can't use a camera. You can't use lights. You can't use a truck. You can't use anything if you're going to say that.
Well, that does cause a quandary, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't. So here's the thing. You're confusing when scientists say that we need to do things that are natural.
No.
Think
the laser is a tool we use to take a calculation or measurement. Okay? A laser is used as a tool. My point is, Cavendish was that they're trying to make the Cavendish experiment the actual experiment. It's not something you observe in nature. We're measuring the curve of the Earth. The curve of the Earth is what we believe is the natural form of the Earth.
So how is mass attracting mass not natural?
Show me anywhere in nature where mass attracts mass naturally.
Everywhere.
No, where?
Things that fall are attracted down somehow.
If that is the case, then I should be able to take a bowling ball and a pellet, and the pellet should be attracted to that bowling ball.
And it is. And you can calculate how much it is. And if you can set it up in an experiment in such a way that that the other forces and the other frictions and inconsistencies and imperfections can be controlled, you can measure that movement towards it. You can measure that acceleration.
Wow. Okay.
So, and that's what the Cavendish experiment is doing. A torsion bar. You have the bar, and it's sitting there, right, with no heavy masses involved, right?
But a torsion bar is not observable in nature.
Well, then neither is a laser. So if you're going to be like that, then every experiment you've ever done is out the window.
A laser is a tool we use.
And a torsion bar is a tool we use to measure.
No, it was part of the experiment.
No, the laser is part of the experiment.
No, it's not. It's a measurement.
You see, I can mirror everything you say, because if I can't use a bar in an experiment, you can't use a laser. Okay. Here's the bigger thing. Why do you think that you couldn't use things that are physical in an experiment? What like rules of science says you can't do that?
What's the definition of? I didn't say that. I said, what's the definition of science?
Science is using logic, reasoning, inductive reasoning. I asked you
what the definition of science is.
I'm giving it to you.
That's not the definition of science.
There is no. This is science, what God said is the definition of science.
No, science is the observation and the testing of the natural known world.
Natural. Okay, and natural being things that are not supernatural.
Natural being things that are not man-made.
Nope. Sorry.
Man-made is not natural.
Sorry, I disagree with your definition of science, and so do scientists.
No, they don't.
Yes,
the
they
definition of science is the study of the natural world.
Yeah, the non-supernatural world.
No.
That's what the natural world is. The natural world is everything that's not supernatural. So scientists say we study things that are not about God and not about metaphysical and not about supernatural. Everything else is what we cover.
What is the first stage of the scientific method, Toon?
The first what?
The very first stage of the scientific method. What is it?
Well, the scientific method is not the Bible. It is not given by God, and we must follow it therefore, if we don't follow it, right? So there isn't one scientific method.
There is one scientific method.
No, there is not one.
There is not multiple scientific methods. The whole purpose of the scientific method is to have a method by which we test things that you can prove or disprove something. If you had multiple of those,
and you completely don't understand what is science. So we don't prove or disprove things in science. Science does not do that. It is not its thing.
That is actually a new. The scientific method is to prove and to disprove things. That's how scientific laws are created.
Like the law of gravitational attraction.
It's not a law. It's a theory.
It is a law.
It's not a law.
It's
not a law. It's a theory. It's never been a law ever. They've written it as scientific law now in textbooks.
It is one of the first laws that you learn when you learn it before. You even learn it before inertia.
Maybe now, but that wasn't always the case.
Yeah. So it is a law, and scientists refer to it as a law. So now,
a law. What exactly is a law, Tim? What's the difference between a theory and a law? Or are you completely combobulated with now
a law? A scientific law. Let's see here. Scientific laws are less rigid than a legal law. They may have exceptions, and like other scientific knowledge, may be modified or rejected based on new evidence and perspectives. In science, the term law usually refers to generalization about data and is a compact way of describing what we'd expect to happen in a particular situation. Some laws are non-mechanical non-mechanistic statements about a relationship among observable phenomenon. For example, the ideal gas law describes how the pressure, volume, and temperature of a particular amount of gas are related to one another. It does not describe how gases must behave. We know that gases do not precisely conform to the ideal gas law. Other laws deal with phenomena that are not directly observable. For example, the second law of thermodynamics deals with entropy, which is not directly observable in the same way that volume and pressure are. Still, other laws offer more mechanistic explanations of phenomenon. For example, Mendel's first law offers a model of how genes... Right, all right. So
the second law of thermodynamics just said is not observable.
They just did. It's not directly observable. Now, a theory, scientific theory, it's often used to, in everyday language, people use it to mean a hunch or a guess, which is not what a scientific theory is. Scientific theory is a broad explanation for a wide range of phenomena. They're concise, coherent, systematic, and can be used to make predictions about many different sorts of situations. A theory is most acceptable to the scientific community when it's strongly supported with many different lines of evidence. But even theories may be modified or overturned if warranted by new evidence and perspectives. So,
they're not laws. When I went to school,
a theory is not a law, correct?
Had been gone through the scientific process and was a law, like the second law of thermodynamics. That is a law. It's unbreakable.
It's no. And hold on. It's not unbreakable. Scientists aren't that. They don't have that hubris, right?
This is where we differ, because laws actually
may have exceptions, and like other scientific knowledge, laws may be modified or rejected based on new evidence and perspectives.
Okay. This is where we differ. That used to not be the case.
That's where you differ from the scientific community.
They teach whatever they want. For example, they teach you're a Christian. They teach the law of evolution or the Big Bang theory.
They don't call those laws. They call them theories.
The law of the Big Bang theory.
Big Bang Theory. It's the name of a TV show.
Right.
It's a theory. It's not a law.
As though it actually happened. It's taught as a fact.
It should be taught as a scientific theory. So, and the thing about a scientific theory is like it says here, it's not a hunch, it's not a hypothesis or a guess, right? It's a concise, coherent, systematic, and can be used to make predictions about many different sorts of situations. It's most acceptable to the scientific community when it's strongly supported by many different lines of evidence. So when somebody says the Big Bang Theory, they're referring to something that has many different lines of evidence supporting the Big Bang Theory.
What lines of it? There's no lines of evidence supporting the Big Bang Theory. It's all theoretical nonsense. All of it.
Well, that's where people would differ from you, because there's a lot of different evidence that people have that they have accepted to support the Big Bang Theory.
Would you agree that some evidence may be inaccurate? For example, the Bible says that the earth was created firm and immovable.
So
that doesn't support a spinning ball.
Now, as soon as you say the Bible says this, you are beginning with a conclusion, right? And then you're going to search out things to support it and ignore things that don't. And that's what we started with at the beginning. And you said we don't do that in science.
Okay, that's what science has done with gravity.
No. Let's focus on you. You said the Bible says this, therefore.
No, I said the Bible says the earth is firm and immovable.
Okay, so that's a conclusion.
Prove the earth is spinning in a globe.
Hold on. That's a conclusion.
No, it's
that's not based on evidence.
It's a theory.
It's not a theory.
Sure it is.
It's not even a hypothesis. It's just a claim.
Well, okay, but that's all hypothesis is too.
No, a hypothesis isn't a claim. It's a falsifiable statement, right? That you can test. It's testable.
The earth is firm and immovable is a falsifiable statement.
Sure, it is.
Falsified.
Yes, and it's been falsified.
It has never been falsified.
It has. Yes.
Except through
Bob
through
Nodell
computer.
falsified it.
Except through,
Thanks, Bob.
what?
Bob Nodell falsified the
Bob Nodell
immovable.
did not. First of all, Bob Nodell did not falsify it. Bob should have kept his mouth shut and didn't. Talking about things he didn't know about.
So
But
hold on a second.
Bob
You
Nodell
just
did not-
you just went. I just said when doing the second thing I said at the beginning. When doing an experiment, include the things that support the hypothesis and ignore things that contradict it. And you said no, that's wrong. And I agree, that's wrong. But that's what you just told Bob he should have done, right? Because he had evidence that contradicted his hypothesis, and you said he should have shut up about it.
See, this is where the globe earth, where you guys don't understand what happened. Bob, when he first made that statement, got a phone call. He'd never touched, and I've done a 2-hour interview with the guy. I've got it on tape. He never touched that laser gyro. He went to someone he shouldn't talk to, and under NDA or under a contract was talking about stuff he shouldn't have even talked about. He was like, well, this will make us look bad because they got a variance without actually understanding how that worked first. And then, of course, globe earthers ran with that data.
All right,
And
so we don't need to look at what Bob did because that wasn't a very rigorous and detailed
Bob also
experiment.
has taken the laser gyro and gone up and disproven the whole idea of the spinning globe by showing that the I had to go back and look it up. He took the gyro up on a mountain and measured the difference in drift, I guess. I don't have all the details on it.
And did he publish that?
Huh?
Did he publish that?
Yeah, he published it.
Yeah.
It's published.
It'd be good to see. So, all right.
On the FE Core website, I think.
So here is a rigorous and detailed experiment called Sensing Earth's Rotation with a Helium Neon Ring Laser operating at 1.15 micrometers. In summary, we have successfully obtained unlocked rotation sensing of a large helium neon ring laser gyroscope in the infrared regime rate biased by the Earth's rotation alone. Link in the chat. And I'll give it to you also in here.
And I hate to cut this short, but I have to go pick up my son. But here soon.
Oh, you got a couple minutes left, or?
Yeah. We got.
Okay, so there's one, another one. Let's see. Experiment to internally measure the Earth's rotating speed and the calculation comparison with the relativistic treatment. There's that, and I'll put the link in there as well. So I have actually on my website here, mc2.net/spin, 11 different rigorous and detailed measurements of Earth's rotation using optical methods as well as physical methods.
Let me add this too. Most people don't understand anything about the ring laser gyro. The ring laser gyro only on one axis picked up a drift. That gyro should have picked up drift if the Earth was spinning on all three axes.
Actually, he covered that. He did cover that.
One. Huh?
He did cover that. I watched the video where he was talking about the axis of the rotation that it was measuring was 15 degrees in total in three different axes.
No, I've got him on video saying they only measured it on one axis.
Yeah.
Not three.
Then that contradicts the one where he says he's reading it in three. So now
show me where he's reading three, because if he's reading three, that contradicts what I have.
So now,
and I want to see that.
As a pilot, you were talked about being a pilot, and Bob knows this, right? Maybe he was a pilot in the 70s, and he got a single engine, right? So he never was a multi-engine pilot. So typically the multi-engine planes are the ones that have the inertial reference units, the IRUs, which is what he got, right?
Right.
It's a three axis optical gyroscope, right? And when you turn on the plane, you have to wait for about 6 minutes because it's measuring the rotation of the Earth, and that gives the correct latitude of the plane. If you don't do that, if you start moving the plane, it knows that, and it will error out, and that IRU will not report the latitude. And then it's I don't know if it'll let you take off still, but it's in an error state.
I actually have a fighter. Well, I've got multiple military pilots, all who which simply say that they lock the gyroscope to the, or they, what do they call it, caging the gyroscope to the runway.
Don't change the topic. I'm talking about the optical gyroscope, not the mechanical gyroscope.
Okay, all right.
Right, that's a different type of gyroscope, and I thought you knew the difference. But so here is, let's see, somebody sent.
I'm not familiar with optical gyroscope. I mean, unless you're talking about the gyroscope like in a flight simulator.
No, the optical, the inertial reference unit in an airplane, and in the big airplanes they have 3 of them for fault tolerance, right? You want to have more than one measurement device, and then 3 is a good number because if you only have 2 and one fails, how do you know which one failed? Right? So if you have 3 and one is giving you a bad number, you can say, all right, that's the one that must be off. We're going to trust the other 2. And so, for example, those 737s that went down, they had a pitch sensor on either side. Only 2 pitch sensors. One errored out, the other did not, and it didn't make the right decision about which one to trust. And so when the pilots were pulling back on the stick, the plane thought it was pitched up too much and it didn't let them. So they crashed. They only had 2.
Gotcha.
3 IRUs, so that's actually 9 different fiber optic gyroscopes. Each IRU has 3 of them in different axes, right? And each of them independently measures the correct latitude of the plane based on the rotation of the Earth.
Okay. Allegedly.
Well, it gets the right number, and if you give it the wrong number, right? Because one of the things you do is the main computer on the plane, you tell it here is, you give it your coordinates. It also uses a GPS to get the coordinates. It also uses the IRU to get the latitude. If any of those are wrong, right? So if you turn on a plane and you import the coordinates, and the IRU says this is a different latitude, it says I'm in an error state because I'm reading the wrong one.
Right. I get it. You realize?
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to word this question. GPS, when you get a GPS coordinate, it comes from 3 points, 3 quote unquote satellites.
5,
whatever, doesn't matter. I don't care. You believe you can get accurate information from moving points over a single reference frame? Yes. Do you understand what I'm asking?
That we can get an accurate position from each of those 5
usually
satellites.
When you do global positioning, it has to be a stable 3-point system that can figure out where the 4th point is, or however many points you have. That's always been my understanding of it, from everything I've studied, has always been it had to be a stable system, meaning a still non-moving location.
What needs to be a stable system?
What we're told that we can get global positioning systems. I can figure out where my cell phone is in space because it pings 3-4 different towers.
It doesn't. It doesn't ping them. It's a one-way. It's a one-way transmission.
Whatever. My point is, it's calculating from 3 to 5 points, satellite points. Yes.
Minimum 5. Yes.
Whatever. Well, it used to be 3, not even 5. So, my point is, how do you do that when those points are constantly moving? Because it cannot count. You cannot.
Because it sends its instantaneous location and its time from its location. That's how.
When you're doing moving time, you have moving objects tracking a moving object.
Yeah, you can read the documentation on how to do it. It's all publicly available. Anybody.
What I'm telling you is it's all stationary towers, and there are no actual satellites up there. And well, I shouldn't say that. There are satellites up there, but they're up there on balloons.
But here's the thing. You can actually, and being a scientist, you could do this yourself. You can build your own antenna, and you could receive the data. You can make it a directional antenna, so you can make sure that there's nothing coming from any towers, any cell towers, right? So it's a directional antenna pointing straight up, and you can read the information from the satellites to confirm it, if you cared.
Unless they're coming from towers.
But a directional antenna will prevent that.
Okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
So you have a drone. Now, in your drone, when you first turn on the drone,
right,
and you can read. Can you read on your display how many satellites it's got going?
I think so.
Yeah,
it's a Mavic. I think.
Yeah. So typically they won't even let you if you're gonna have it so that it comes back to its first position.
You have to have at least three spots.
5. Yeah, and if you take off before that, then it won't come back to its first spot automatically, right? But if you've done it yourself, right, which I have, you can get 7 or 8 or 9 satellites even, right? So I don't know where I was going with that, but so yeah, Robert Greenlee, a pilot, is saying why are GPS antennas always on the top of planes? All right, so somebody sent this here, and I think I'll play this quick here. So this is Bob. You won't get the audio, JM, because I don't have it piped back, but I have subtitles on. Are you seeing?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Okay, so I'm going to play this here from the beginning here.
Would it be easier if I put it on a different monitor? So
no, it's good.
At the same time?
You want to put it on one of these?
Yeah, I can do that.
Cool. I can do that.
Let's bring it down to this one. Okay. You're running out of battery.
Perfect.
I'm not a Bob Nodell fan, by the way. Just so you know.
Are you live?
I think so. Yeah, I think there's 10 people already watching.
That's Nathan Thompson, right?
Not showing it online.
Yeah.
On video.
Not on YouTube.
That's
Facebook.
why. Okay.
Yeah.
That explains the situation.
There we go. All right, I'm going to zoom in on the computer.
Okay, let's get to the point because I do have to go get my son.
go.
So,
Okay.
what does he say?
Well,
You're trying to show me.
Here, what it is.
so he's talking about, all right, well, in this video, he talks about seeing the, when one horizontal gyro, the one that's in the bottom that's horizontal, is only reading a portion of 15 degrees. One of the vertical reads another portion. The other vertical reads another portion. When you put them all together, it's 15
how old
degrees.
Is this video? What's the date on this video?
This is from Harry Warp. It's not from Nathan. Nathan put it on Facebook. This is on YouTube. So
Okay.
it's about almost 5 minutes. So,
When did he put it on YouTube? Do you know?
this was from June 19 of last year. So I'll send you this link. So anyway,
Right.
the point is that the one that's horizontal there, when it's on the equator, should read 0, and when it's on the North Pole or South Pole, should read 15, and when it's anywhere in between, it'll be a sine cosine function. Right? That's how it should be, and then the others also have similar variations.
So you're saying it should read 15 degrees at the North Pole?
The horizontal one should read 15, and the other two should read nothing.
Okay,
right?
Gotcha, yeah.
And then that horizontal one should read 0 when it's at the equator. So I got a couple.
Hey, Tim, just so you know, I'm not trying to run off.
No, I get it. So yeah, I'll let you get
I'll
going.
do this again though sometime. This is fun.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap it up here. Thanks a lot for coming. I'll get you on full screen here. So it was a good talk. I'd love to, if you're going to do those measurements again, if you just, cared to say, is this good methodology? I would tell you, honestly, what I thought would be good methodology. What I would, if you did it, would not nitpick.
I would totally team up with you if I went, because I do plan to go do them again. And I'd like to do it in a way where people aren't going to come back and go, well, you didn't do this, you didn't get that, you get this. So let's just get all of the components. Let's go everything everybody wants to have. I'll even go out and get McDonald's, although I don't eat meat. And I'll set it on the counter.
Yep. All right, hold on a second. Punchy. He said you didn't answer his last question. What is the Planck's? What is Planck's constant rounded?
Wow. Just glad nobody asked me. What's 10 to the negative 17 torr? Is that positive or negative number?
And what is it?
It's positive.
All right, thank you. You've made my shirt vintage now because it's now wrong. I was gonna wear it, but I thought I'll be nice. I won't wear it.
Did you actually do one?
I bought the one from Writer of Dinosaurs that says 10 to the negative 17 is a negative number, and I wear it, and people are like, what's wrong with your shirt? That's wrong. B-Ball for Life says, how do soldiers deployed in Afghanistan get internet on their personal laptops?
Because there's towers in Afghanistan. There's hundreds of thousands of towers all over the world.
Okay.
I actually have a friend of mine that helped install them. So
install towers.
Install cell towers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CRISPR's asking, what are the internal angles of a square? Come on, you could do this. That's not a trick question.
What are the internal?
The internal angles of a square.
Okay, I'm not sure what he's asking.
90. They're all 90.
Oh,
it's a square.
Really? All right, sorry.
You're expecting a trick question, right?
I was expecting a trick question. Yeah, no, I get it. I'm like trying to figure out. Okay, what are they trying to throw at me now?
And how does a GPS get a signal in the middle of the ocean if it's all towers?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. Because I took
I have to research it. Obviously. Oh, you know what? Actually, though, I'm not sure. You can't get. Some people can and can't get cell. I mean, aircraft disappear for a time.
That's not GPS. That's
I understand that, but
that's a reporting back mechanism.
I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to research it. But obviously, you can. I assume I can get over land. I'd never flown over water and had cell service. I only got Wi-Fi actually for the first time a few months ago. I didn't even know you could get Wi-Fi on a plane. So
I was flying from Anchorage to Minneapolis, and let's see.
I lived in Anchorage for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't graduate. I went to UAA for a while.
UAA is
University of Alaska Anchorage.
Oh, I was there. I have a picture of myself next to their giant concrete compass. Underneath
right.
it. So all right, just real quick before we go, this is my my observation taken on the way back, where I had 0 cell service, but I had excellent GPS service. And it's also the moon is below eye level. But I had no cell service.
The horizon is below eye level, or whatever.
The horizon and the moon are below eye level.
Yeah, assuming that's correct. Yeah, no,
I'm
always going to say assuming to everything, just because.
So you can do it when you fly. The Theodolite app is just a couple bucks in the app store, and then get next to water.
Yeah, the Theodolite app is calibrated correctly.
Yes, and I calibrated this at the mouth of the Kenai River the day before.
Right, but if the app is just to play devil's advocate, if the app is calculated incorrectly, it could come up with this outcome. If the intention of the app people was to push the globe idea, I'm just making it an argument to say.
So the problem is the number of people in on it, but that's fine. I gotta let you go.
Well, actually, I can explain that too, but that'll be for another day.
Yes.
It's actually called compartmentalization. But
Punchy says, "What color is a red fire truck?" And B-Ball for Life says,
blue.
How does a blue force tractor work?" I don't know what
Why?
that is. What's a blue force tractor, B-Ball for Life? I don't know what he means. So, all right.
Hey, team, thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Thank you for
My
coming.
website is jmtruth.com, and I'm Joshua Michael, and I have JM Truth Productions, which I'm standing down and standing up a new film production company, which I'm super excited about because I'm trying to be less and less involved in the flat Earth community, but that for personal reasons. So
All right.
I want to get back to real life, basically, and make movies. So that's what I want to do.
All right. Well, good. You go. I'll have a couple more things here. So thanks a lot for coming. And
Thanks, dude. It was fun.
Yeah, we'll catch
Do
you
it
again. Yep. All right, people. Well, thanks for showing up, everybody, and watching. Let's see. Anybody has? Did I miss any? I think Chris Christopherson for 20 secs. 50 secs. So I guess I better. There you go. That'll turn into it. They always make a GIF out of those. There's like 3 animated GIFs of me doing the sex dance. So thank you, Carl Christopherson. Satellites, an artificial body placed in orbit around the Earth or Moon or another planet in order to collect information or for communications. So, here we go. We have the blue force. You gotta see what that is. Blue force tracking. Oh, that's a real thing. I thought it was a JM. I don't know if did JM seem to not know what that was, or did he seem to know what it was. So blue force tracking. Let me. There we go. GPS-enabled capability that provides military commanders and forces with location information about friendly, and despite its name also hostile, military forces in NATO military symbology. Blue typically denotes friendly forces. The capability provides a common picture of the location of friendly forces and therefore is referred to as the Blue Force Tracker. So, there you go. Cool. Uses GPS. Global. Carl Christopherson, that was your plan from the beginning. The sex dance. Thank you very much. Yes, on my Discord server, 3 different. Actually, if you search the on that GIF site for sex dance, I'm on there now. In addition to FTFE and Team Skeptic, so Team Skeptic is whose mentor, mine. So, well, thank you, everybody. That was good. I tried to. I wanted that to be different. I like JM. Do you guys have that? I mean, it's like he's trying to be a nice guy. He's not egotistical, and I mean, some of his videos are at the beginning, but I think he's maybe changing from that. Who knows? So like I didn't really track that very much. The bingo, though I probably could. Hold on, let me see. He did not say fisheye. He didn't say compression. Poorly done experiment. Yeah, sorry. He said see too far. 8 inches per mile. He did not have a new name for gravity. Just said it doesn't exist. Yeah, he did not get a whole lot. So yeah, the Nicole Hopkins, his DJI app will give him all the pertinent data except air temperature. Yeah. And Cynthia Vicious says he's okay for a flurf. He is no Nathan. That's right. So, yeah. Nerthan Thurmpson says, JM is growing. I hope he gets out of the whack he is neck deep in. So, yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Well, if you're new, click on subscribe. I just passed 3,300 subscribers, or 3,300 subscribers. As I actually sent a picture to 33UC earlier today when I hit 3,300 subscribers. So click like and subscribe and all that. And I got a couple new channel members. Thank you very much for them. I'll get you up on the right here on the board for next week, and you get some discounts on merch if you care about that. So yeah, 33. It's not exactly 3,300 because you can only see 2 digits of precision now. Facebook changed that. I don't know why. You used to have the ability to see down to the number. Let me see, what is the actual number? It's 3,303 is the actual number of subscribers, so thank you, people. Gleam, how you doing? Did not just say that's a different system to GPS. I need to update your knowledge. This guy says planes use normal GPS. Well, yeah, GPS is a little bit of a generic umbrella term. I think GNSS is maybe the more accurate term. There. So, let's see. Gleam, GPS is so accurate that ATC is decommissioning VORs and ILS landing systems. Absolutely, yeah. So, I had seen about that. I also saw China has put up enough satellites that their own GPS is now used, and they're going to stop using our GPS. So now they can shoot down our satellites and then still have their own satellites, I guess. That's nice. The biggest boom. Also, wait, Oakley has kids. Yeah, that's how he got kind of famous, right? If I run a third-party flight app, you can get the names of all satellites you're connected to. Oh yeah. So I write software, and I know I have a Raspberry Pi, and I've thought I might want to get a GPS module for it, and then actually in real time, like interact with it and get the names and positions of all the satellites. Would be kind of fun. But then you'd know where I was. I'm in a secret bunker, a secret NASA bunker. I can't do that. So, all right. Somebody said that there needs to be more female mods. There's a couple, but Vishanti isn't here, and a Marvel girl, Turquoise Laura. So who was saying Magda van der Wied? Sounds German. That is. Let's see. Did I even get your name close? Magda van der Wieg. So, well, anyway. There, Hannah Anderson. She's here. So, that's all I have. I'll look at Magda. Are you on my Discord server? Pop in. Let's talk. So, anyway, thanks a lot, everybody. And next week, Red Pill Philosophy. Looking forward to that. I have a couple things planned. So, Christmas says, can we get a shout out for the NASA Black Site Area 69? There you go. Yeah, so Red Pill Philosophy. Everybody, so many tabs. There you go. And we also have, I'm trying to have about the same emojis on on my Discord server as here. Yeah, it's not letting me put in my tabs. So, all right. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week.